All right. Hey guys. So I haven't forgotten why I made this channel about like all the information that I've shared with you guys. And I'm not gonna stop doing that, but I just have to be a little bit more crafty in the way that I do it. Okay. So y'all just gonna have to stick with me because I had gotten a strike because I was giving you guys some amazing information and they suspended me for a week. So I have to be careful with the way I talk, and I'm gonna put links to my Rumble page. So if I make a video that I really want to get fully in detail about with some information, then I'll give you like a brief summary here, and I'll be like, click on this link to go to Rumble to get the full details. Okay. So for this, I'm not going to share the audio, but you'll be able to see what's going on and you should be able to like read the captions. Okay. Trigger warning, too, by the way. So you read what was going on, what she was bragging about, and you saw what happened. Now, before we unpack it all, I just want to read a little quick something from Bob Saget's autopsy. Okay. It is my opinion that the death of Robert Saget, 65-year-old white male, was found unresponsive in his room. It is a result of head trauma, chief medical exam. Okay. Which was released to the, okay. So, all right. So you're saying he had head trauma, right? It is the most probable that the decedent suffered an unwitnessed fall backwards and struck the posterior aspect of his head. The manner of death is an accident, Stephanie added. The document also said that Saget had fractures around his eyes and posterior scalp abrasions, tested positive for the cold, and had an enlarged heart and was 95% blocked on one side. All right, let's talk about it. Bob Saget fell backwards and sustained fractures so hard that he ended up bleeding out. He broke, like basically broke his skull, right? So usually when we're falling and we're like with it, even if we are like, because they did find benzos and everything in his system, but those kind of drugs like Ativan, maybe that's his daily routine and he probably was used to taking it. So we build a tolerance, all right? It takes a lot for you to fall and not try to find a way to protect the head. Like it really takes a lot for you to straight fall backwards like that. Kind of like that fall I just showed you on the video with the lady, which I hope she's okay. A person can throw a clot that lodges in their brain on like the left side and then gets a right-sided weakness out of nowhere that they don't even realize they're getting, lose their footing, spaz out, and fall backwards, fall however. But this is what we're calling now a stroke. Okay. And so then you don't have your faculties to go, whoa, like or try to hurry up and turn around. So it is a human reflex. It is an innate reflex for you to protect your head. Also, they found the enlarged heart with blockage. We talked about DIC on this channel. And for those that don't know, it's disseminated into vascular coagulation, where the body goes through a response where it starts to just throw clots everywhere and it starts to just bleed also, and it's throwing clots and it goes into like a confusion. I think we pretty much see where I'm going with this here. And I guess I should leave it here to be safe. This stuff is not to be trifled with, but we're not allowed to talk about it. And it is absolutely horrendous. It's criminal that we can't have certain discussions because we should be able to have certain medical discussions. There are a lot of things we're getting ready to see There are statistics that are blowing the minds of people who are taking the real data. Death is up in 1 year, 40%. And that's not, you know, that's not pandemic like COVID. No, that's just death, period. Um, they're saying cancer's on the rise. We're going to see this kind of stuff. I have to be careful, like I said on the channel, how I say it, but I wanted to bring that to you. And again, this is not to scare anybody or anything, but it's the information that I feel like we need to talk about. We need to talk about it. And rest in peace to Bob Saget. And I don't want to I waited a long time because for real, the minute I heard it, I was like, boom, all right. That's how I look at stuff. I'm just like, here we go. But I waited, and because I don't want to make his death be about that, but it's just the constant um headlines that we're gonna see them, and they're concerning to me. The more and more I find out, the more and more it infuriates me. It does, because man, informed consent is so important. And let me tell you a story why informed consent, I've become so passionate about it. I'm going to share, because a lot of times something happens to somebody and then that's why they become like this advocate, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's something that did happen to me years ago. You know, I was 23. This was before I had any kind of medical training at all, like no kind of medical training. I would constantly have pains every time I had my menstrual cycle, like strong pains, but sometimes they would go away. Well, one time it wasn't going away and it was like really painful. And they did an ultrasound and they told me that I had a cyst on my right ovary. And they said it was huge and that we needed to cut it out. Like it has to be cut out. It's grown to the size of a tennis ball and it had to be cut out. And so at 23, the doctor's telling me this, and I'm like, okay, fine. Then if that's what the doctor says, then that has to be the case. You know, we have to cut it out. And so without asking too many questions, I just trust the science, right? And I went into surgery. I woke up from surgery. He told me we had to take your right ovary. And I immediately started crying because the first thing you think as a female is, I can't have kids. Like you took a whole ovary. Wait a minute, I didn't know that this was an option here. So I'm like, what? So he says, you can still have kids. You can still have kids. So I was young then. And so I was like, but why did that happen? And he said, when we went inside, the thing about ultrasounds is that, you don't really know what's going on until you fully go inside and see, which is true, which should have been explained to me. So he said, when we went inside, we realized that the cyst was inside your ovary. So we had to take the whole ovary. I didn't know that that was going to be something that could have possibly happened, because I could have, at least if I knew, then I would have went in with a chance of knowing and probably would have been better off, maybe feeling like I made a full decision. Or I would have said, no, don't do it. Right. I might have been like, you know what? Maybe we could figure something out or something. I could have declined the surgery. After that, after 23 of having that happen to me, I didn't start feeling like myself until 30, 31. Yes, because they don't explain to you that now we've taken away a whole ovary and your hormones are gonna go haywire before your body can compensate and bring yourself back to homeostasis, back to normal. None of this gets explained, right? So they just say, well, you still can have kids, which is true. You still can. But I didn't realize that, like, I was going to start going through like almost a depression. I mean, there was no other word for it, because I had a chemical imbalance. These hormones are important. And I just had a whole bunch of them just ripped out of my body. So my mood was going downhill. I was gaining weight rapidly. Without any explanation, because the same things that I was used to do, to keep my weight at I'm not like a stick skinny girl, but I always maintained at a certain level. Well, the same things I used to do, they weren't working, and everything was just happening rapidly. And I felt down. I felt like not myself, but I didn't start correlating it to that ovary being missing until I think I ran into some article or something when I was like 29 and started doing research. And I bought this book called The Hormone Diet. And I started doing so much of my own research and really came down to it. I found out that I really didn't even have to do anything surgically for that ovary. It would have shrunk back down at some point on its own. And I would have much rather that. Because I've had cysts again on my left ovary. And then when they go back and look, they're gone. So there was a chance that I didn't have to have that surgery. So this is why informed consent means the world to me. It does. And I find it very criminal when it doesn't happen. Now, I thank God, I know how to deal with my body. I know when it's not like what it was before. My body has regulated itself because after a while, your body is it's so designed so perfectly by the Most High God. Like it is amazing. Your body will regulate itself. It will. If it's not like something that you literally cannot live without, your body will regulate itself to live with the one thing and make enough enzymes, and it does what it has to do. Because I definitely am not the same person I was when this first happened to me when I was 23. So this is why, and compared to what I'm seeing today, that's the joke. Yeah, my story compared to what I'm seeing today is an absolute joke because it is extraordinary what I'm seeing today, what I'm reading today, and what I see coming in the future. But we'll talk about it in more detail on my Rumble. I am going to place the link to the video that got me suspended on YouTube so you guys can see it on Rumble. Okay. All right, guys. I'll see you guys at the next video. Thanks for joining me always.